Hi, I'm Dr. Shilagh Mirgain, a clinical psychologist at the University of Wisconsin-Madison who specializes in health and sports psychology. One of the best things you can do to optimize your health and well-being during COVID-19 is to engage in a regular mindfulness practice. For some of you, maybe you've heard about mindfulness but have never given it a shot. For others, maybe you've dabbled and tried an occasional practice here or there, but now feel ready to really practice more regularly. Today, I'd like to share with you some of the benefits of mindfulness, as well as leave you with two simple practices. Mindfulness has been around for thousands of years. It has its origins in a variety of religious traditions. Jon Kabat-Zinn, the researcher out of the University of Massachusetts, is credited with really bringing mindfulness to the West. He describes mindfulness as paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, non-judgmentally. I like to think about mindfulness as really allowing us to be awake and aware fully in the present moment, here and now. Research shows that even in as little as a couple weeks of practice, mindfulness really strengthens various aspects of well-being. It shows it improves physical health with lowering stress levels in the body, boosting our immune system, lowering blood pressure, and it can also really improve our mood as well. Research also shows that mindfulness meditation strengthens neuronal pathways in the brain associated with areas such as increased focus and attention, greater emotion regulation, so you're experiencing less emotional distress, and better executive functioning and decision making. All of this really says that mindfulness is one of the best things we can be doing during this time. So let's talk about two simple practices to get you started. The first one is a mindful focus practice using the breath as an anchor. I like to think about this practice as a boat that is firmly anchored. When heavy winds come, the boat that's anchored will not topple over, it will not capsize. Instead, it will remain firmly rooted and grounded. In the same way, when we use the breath as a focal point, as an anchor, the breath is always with us, it's always available. We can use it and train with it to help us stabilize our mind and be some of the calm in the storm around us. So when we begin a mindfulness practice, it's always nice to be in a quiet, comfortable place where you'll be undisturbed for a period of time. You might turn off those phones, close tablets or devices, and let people around you know that you want to be undisturbed for the next few minutes. And then get into a comfortable position. You can be seated or you might lie down. It's okay to also do some movement with this if you feel more comfortable that way. You might have a softened, lowered gaze. You might close your eyes and just take a moment to get into that comfortable position. And then as we begin the mindfulness, I encourage you to find and follow your breath. You can feel the rise and fall of the breath. And as you breathe in, just simply notice that you're breathing in. As you breathe out, notice that you're breathing out. With the next in-breath and out-breath, just imagine that next out-breath dropping you down and back into yourself. So you're really connected with the core of who you are. Breathing in, noticing you're breathing in. Breathing out, noticing you're breathing out. Using that breath again as that focal point to really help you anchor here and now in this moment. Your mind's going to wander because that's what minds do. They often talk about the mind as a monkey mind swinging from tree to tree, branch to branch. Just notice the mind's wandered off and then bring it back. Each time you bring your mind back, it's like doing bicep curls for the brain, strengthening those neuronal pathways in the brain associated with focus and attention. You can even, when you notice the thought, imagine the thought like a cloud going across the sky or a leaf going down a stream or a car driving past. Just let it float on by, move on by, and then return your focus to the breath. Sometimes thoughts are sticky. It's like if a thought is like a car driving past, you want to leap out the window and hang on to the car and let the car take you where it's going and hanging on for dear life. It's kind of the sticky thought. And instead, we can just notice, oh, there's that tendency to hang on to that thought, to get hooked by that thought. But then make a different choice. Choose instead to return to the breath, letting the thought pass on by, bringing your full attention to the breath, breathing in, breathing out. Sometimes you can start to get hooked by sensations in the body, pain or discomfort or itchiness or achiness. You can notice those sensations. You might even label them, oh, there's a sensation. And then again, return your focus back to the breath. Breathing in, noticing you're breathing in. Breathing out, noticing you're breathing out. Your mind also can get hooked by emotions or maybe even a challenging storyline that your mind is relaying. Just notice that, oh, there's a story. Oh, there are some difficult emotions. And then make that choice, returning your focus back to the breath. Breathing in, some relaxation. Breathing out, some release. You might even try counting with your breathing. You might breathe in for the count of 1, 2, 3, and breathe out for the count of 1, 2, 3. That kind of focal point can help the mind focus more on the breath. Breathing in for the count of 1, 2, 3. Breathing out for the count of 1, 2, 3. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in some peace. Breathing out, release. Great, nicely done. You might think about this practice and when you might choose to do it, maybe starting with that 5 minutes. And then over time, you might increase it to 10 or 20 minutes. The second practice I want to share with you is a 5 senses practice. This you can do as a seated, more formal meditation, but it's also a great practice to do when you're out doing some recreation, you're exercising, maybe you're walking or running or going on a bicycle ride. This kind of practice can really help open up your senses so you're more aware of the environment around you, really feeling connected to all that exists in this moment. The 5 senses practice involves first noticing 5 things that you can see. You might say it silently to yourself or even out loud, like, oh, I see a wall or a floor or a lamp, or I see a tree or a bird outside. And then notice 4 things that you can hear. Like you might notice the sound of my voice or the clock ticking, or maybe you notice wind rustling in leaves or a bird chirping. And then notice 3 things that you can touch. You might notice the fabric of clothing. Maybe you're giving yourself a little hug and feeling your hands on your arms as you squeeze inward and hug yourself. Or maybe you can feel the feet in your shoes on the ground. And then you're going to notice 2 things that you can smell. Maybe you notice the aroma of something cooking in your kitchen, or maybe you can smell the fragrance of a flower outside. And lastly, 1 thing that you can taste. Maybe you can taste some of the food you ate recently, or even take a sip of some water or a cup of coffee or tea and taste that flavor. So the 5 senses practice, consider doing it while you're exercising, or even doing it to help you drop into the moment at any point during your day. Thank you for trying some mindfulness meditation. Think about incorporating it as part of your self-care that you're doing during this time. Thanks so much for watching this video. Stay safe, be well, go Badgers.